Good morning. We are on day 12 of our 100 days of community, and it is Saturday. So, happy Saturday. Super glad to have you with me. The tiny humans are awake and in the background, so they are working on being quiet, but there are no promises there. So, hi, Tiffany. Hey, Taylor. Hey, guys. Guys. Okay, Antonio. Shh. Let's have a little bit more quiet voices. Next weekend, right, when they're home, my goal is to be in my tiny cottage. Hey, Tiff. Um, because yeah, they're going to be loud. So all of that to say, good morning, happy Saturday. How are you? I'm checking in. How are you feeling? Right? It's been like almost 2 weeks and you guys are showing up. So I want you to check in with your body. Where are you at? What's coming up for you? Share that with me in the comments. Talk to me. I want to know how you're doing. While I pull up my notes for today and get ready. Uh-oh. Where did my Google Docs go? Sorry, I'm a little bit behind. But I have my water. I am taking care of myself by drinking more water. Um, so I am ready for that. Okay, we have day 12, shadow work, facing what disconnects us. So, as a backstory, I don't know, do you guys know what Marco Polo is? Have you ever heard of the Marco Polo app? Um, I'm so glad that you are feeling grounded, Tiff. That is super important, super, super important. So years ago, I don't know, 20, I don't know, 20 something. 2019, 2020, somewhere in there, right? In my makeshift happen group, I shared a little bit backstory of my own journey of how I began to awaken to these systems in my own like spiritual life, right? Like as a very active participant within the Christian church and within ministry, right? Oh, is Marco Polo your favorite, Michelle? So, years ago, Marco Polo had this thing called Marco Polo channels. And you would basically, it still worked as the same interface. Basically, you text video like what we're doing right now, and that person can answer it whenever. But in channels, it was a dedicated community space that if you signed up, you would get like daily shadow work, journal prompts, and I would check in with you. And and extended at that time, I still had the makeshift happen group, but I also had Selenite and Sage because that was my woo woo. Group name and business name. Now it says, it's Selenite and Sage Counseling still that exists. But I say all of that because we were doing that work. Like, so I have like a year and some change worth of just shadow work, journal prompts, and we were meeting up for new moon and full moon, and all of that was happening within the makeshift happen community. Um, and shadow work is super important. And I moved away from saying that I did that because, of course, it gets co opted, right? By like all of the people with Canva templates and white witches and all of this kind of stuff. And I'm like, okay, we're not really getting into the crux of what shadow work is, right? Like the parts, those parts of ourselves, right? We're only doing the fun woo woo part of it. And I don't say fun because shadow work is not fun. It is enlightening. But we got into it. I got into it because I do believe in parts, right? Internal family systems is another thing that I really loved when I got into that, right? Like, and taking those trainings and just like really learning how systems work. And we are systems, right? And we have various parts. That's my whole point of this backstory. We have parts. And shadow work helps us integrate those parts. It brings them all together because supremacy culture disconnects us from within first So we're used to the disconnection outwardly, right? And so we learn how to compartmentalize, which I used to personally think was like so healthy. Like, oh, I can compartmentalize. Like, fuck, like one thing has nothing to do with the other. And the truth of the matter is it's all interconnected, and many things have to do with another. So it's super important to pay attention to that. So on this day, um, and I want to give a disclaimer: like every single day is not actually a day, right? Like it's just these are steps. If you are still working on step 6, you are not behind. You are not failing. You are not doing it wrong. I'm just moving through them. And that's the whole point of having an article to go back to, right? Revisit it as many times as you want. Stay on day 2 for 3 weeks if you need to. Do not take this as like a test, right? Like that supremacy culture, like, well, you got to do this or you're going to fall behind or any of those sorts of things. Do not, this is not that. So just want to give that disclaimer. So shadow work, day 12, facing what disconnects us. 3 talking points. What is shadow work and why it's essential? I kind of just broke that down, right? 2, shadow work is community work. I explained how it's community work when I was doing it in those Marco Polo channels. 3, healing requires courage and compassion, right? These are the 3 takeaways from today. And back to what is shadow work and why it's essential. Here was what I actually wrote. Shadow work is about exploring the parts of ourselves we buried, fears, biases, beliefs, and trauma that live in our unconscious. These shadows often create disconnection, resistance, and stagnation. So we want to believe when we go on these anti-whatever journeys, whether it's anti-oppression, anti-racism, right? You don't want to be uh, whatever it is you no longer want to be. That all of a sudden, you took the class, you did the book club, and you're done, right? I used to always say, I'm never going to give you a certificate. Like you're not. And now I'm actually working on like CEU programs, but because I think that that's essential, just like within societal frameworks. But anyway, um, you're never done with the work, right? Like none of us are. When I say things, I'm like, wait, I have to check that, right? Thoughts come up, and those are the parts they live in the shadows, right? Because whiteness is a performance, and we're supposed to always be happy and jovial, and there's no space for the range of emotions, which is truthfully the breath of humanity. Systems of whiteness do not want that for us. Supremacy culture does not want that for us. They want us to run like machines with inner programming. Don't feel anything, don't think anything, just go with it. And if you question it, it's a problem, right? If you sit down and you question things, why are you questioning this? Just shut up and do what you're told to do. And we see that mimicked over and over again. And shadow work asks us to take a moment, pause. What just came up, right? Back to my theme for 2025. Get curious. Oh, I just thought that. Why did I think that? Where did that come from? Where did that thought come from? Where does this story come from? Today's article on Season and Self was talking about like what stories are happening for you with the liberation lesson. Like what stories are coming up for you? And those are often given to us from supremacy culture, right? Are you fat? Who told you you were fat? Who told you fat was a bad thing? Are you disabled? Why are you not valuable? Are you black? Why are you not loved, seen as human? Are you indigenous? Why are you less than? If you are queer, why is it that you are not considered normal and part of that heteronormative thing? That is supremacy culture, right? If you are poor, it is because you did this on your own, and it does not give you time to pause, to say, wait. But we bury all of those things about ourselves, about others, and those are our immediate things. That's that unconscious bias that we consistently talk about, right? Like you think you're doing this work, and you are. You very much could be doing this work. But if you're not willing to confront the unconscious bias that comes up, if you're not willing to admit, right, like that whole saying, say the quiet part out loud, if you're not willing to say the quiet part out loud, you're not doing the deeper shadow work. Stand by. Hi. Hi. Inside voices. Mommy's working. Inside work voices. Titi's working, okay? Thank you. Shh. Let's bring that down. One more notch. Good job. So, I forgot. Okay, no, we're back to why shadow work is essential. So that's the reason why it's essential, because it is a whole self-healing journey, right? Like, you can't do the work if you're not dismantling the stories about yourself. How are you not going to believe the stories about me when I show up, right? If you still believe the stories about yourself, if you still feel like you are unworthy, if you are bypassing your own healing to help me, you're not helping me, right? And you're causing harm to yourself. So it's a double fold harm here. You're gonna harm me with your bias, and you're damn sure harming yourself with with self-harm, because you're not doing the work for you. You're not going to dismantle a damn thing until you dismantle it within. And that is why a lot of my work is always about internal first, right? These systems are reflections, they're mirrors of how we are living, right? Like, we create this reality that we're in because we adhere to it. Taylor says, and changing long held relationships by saying the quiet part out loud. Yeah, like, and it will. It's going to do that. It's 100% going to change certain relationships, right? Because they've gone along, or what you'll find in this work very specifically when you do boundaries. I used to do like a boundaries class once a month. Is we've created a ton of relationships in our lives that are boundaryless, right? So you'll lose them, right? When you start saying that quiet part out loud, you're asserting a boundary here. Like, oh, did you actually mean? You are letting this person effectively know that I'm no longer going along with that conversation, that way of thinking, that way of being. And that is setting up an immediate boundary. And they will feel that.
His toy dropped down there and I couldn't hit it because it's under the weight.
Okay, well, he's going to have to find another toy to play with. Okay. Problem solved. 2, shadow work is community work, because that's what we're here for, right? Which also brings me to my ADHD moment and question. I was looking at Skool, SKOOL, and I'll put this into the article, maybe do a survey. Would you guys be interested in Skool, where all of these things could be actual lessons, where you can, do it as you feel, right? Like, it's kind of all in one place and it's organized. And why I like that idea personally is because it allows you guys to commune, right? That are also doing the work. And I find that to be important. It's why I've always created online communities. Because it's great to be in community with me, right? Like, that's like, oh, like, I'm going to Des's thing, yay! Oh, Des is on TikTok, or Des is here. But I want to cultivate the community outside of me. I can't be the focal point. That's how cults start. Okay. Listen, it's a constant ego check, and make sure any of your leaders, educators, whatever, are constantly checking their ego. Because if everything is only solely centered around them, that is a cult. They are in their ego. You are not safe. Okay. So that being said, put a pin in it. Think about it. Skool is like another social media that's outside of Meta and everything. I know people are leaving Meta in certain spaces. So I'm just thinking of a transitional space where you guys can commute, right? And we could do like, oh, what city are you in? And we could do things like that. And hell, I may even travel because I got an RV and I'm thinking about getting my kids out of school next year. Anyway, I digress. Shadow work is community work. Personal shadows don't just affect us. They influence how we show up in our relationships, communities, and activism. Unaddressed internalized beliefs can perpetuate harm in collective spaces, which is something that would be great, wouldn't it, Michelle? Okay. Which is something I just talked about, right? There's no way, right? If I am a disabled person, which I am, right? But I am not visibly disabled, right? I have fibromyalgia, just had back surgery. I'm a year out. I have congenital spinal stenosis. This is generational for me. My mom had it. My cousin Kristen just got diagnosed with it, but my mother was physically disabled in the way that you could see it, visibly physically disabled. She had lost her leg. What? If I cannot yes, if I cannot untangle, and that took a while, my own worth inside of these systems beyond my disability. How can I see someone who is more disabled than I am because it's visible, and see them as whole, and see them as human, and see them as capable, as able? right? That is what I mean by, it has to happen internally and communally. Like, it's super important because accountability exists there, right? If I fuck up, because I'm gonna fuck up, I'm gonna fuck up. Listen, let me just tell you right now, I'm gonna fuck up. Okay? Because I'm human. And that's part of the human experience, right? And you're gonna fuck up. And that's okay because that's part of the human experience. But if you are fucking up in isolation, it is full of grief, full of shame, right? And then it stagnates you because then you're like, oh, I can't believe I said that. That was horrible. Oh my God. And this the self-flagellation that happens in supremacy culture, right? It's all of this like this insurmountable amount of shame, which is yet another construct of Christianity. We'll get into that when we decolonize God. Because shame is not a real emotion. And Michelle has been here with me long enough that I always use this example. I have been a parent for 29 years, so I've had a bunch of toddlers. If you had a toddler, if you've experienced a toddler, you would know that a toddler would go out and poop in the middle of a parade. Feel great about it. You know why they feel great? Because they released what was in their body. They don't care about wiping. I'm going to poop, pull up my pants, and go. Zero shame. Children can teach us a lot. None whatsoever. No embarrassment, nothing. They just were honoring what was true. Here in this moment, my body was full. It needed to be released. And that's just what happens. And that's just the end of that story. And that is what I want us to think about. I want us to poop like toddlers without shame, right? It's inevitable. You're going to poop because pooping is a natural function. Think about fucking up as pooping. You're going to poop. We all poop. That is a natural function. No shame about it. We poop. There we go. So in community, when you're doing these shadow works, not only are you going to be held accountable, right? You're going to be held in love when you poop. Not only that, you get to see yourself reflected in other people. Sorry, my son just kicked it. Morgan. Here.
Yes, mother.
Don't yes, mother me. Did you kick your sister? Why did you kick your sister?
Because she was yelling at me.
I don't care. Don't put your feet or your body on her. Were you defending yourself?
Yes.
No.
Still don't care. Don't yell at me.
No. Then tell her not to yell at you, but don't put your hands on her. Do not aggress her physically without defending yourself. Do you understand me? Yes or no? Yeah. Apologize to her. Talk to her. Take some accountability. That's not cool. You did not make her feel safe in her home, and I told you about that. She needs to be safe in her home, just like you do. Work on a Saturday. Okay. So, as we round up the community work, you also see your reflection in someone else, right? You're going to turn around and see, wow, this person is like me, or this person gets it. They understand. They see me. They witness me. Again, our lives are meant to be witnessed, right? And not just the person who's leading, right? Like I love the way you guys affirm me, the way you guys validate me, but I want that to be happening for you, right? Like I love that. That's great. It helps me show up more. So I know that if it helps me show up more, you having that in community, right? Like that's why I'm always like, good morning. Thanks for showing up. Look at you showing up for you. That's amazing. Because you should be witnessed as well. That is the joy of community. It is reciprocal energy. Okay. I'm also giving you these points because again, so easy to fall into cults. Very specifically right now, while people are in such deep need of community and leaving harmful communities and seeking somewhere. But if you don't have the tools to recognize or dismantle a safe from unsafe community, you could wind up in an unsafe space. And so I want you to take those things very seriously, right? People should not be living in their ego. It should feel reciprocal. You should also feel seen and witnessed, right? It should not feel like, oh, yes, this is amazing. Everything you do is great. And I'm just a terrible human being showing up to this space. Oh, and so thankful for you to have me in here. Absolutely not. That's absurd and violent. Okay? So, no. Shadow work needs to be community work so we can all be witnessed, so we can all share, so we can all be seen, and we can heal together.
KJ,
That boy works on the phone. Third takeaway, healing requires courage and compassion. Snaps for that. Oh, hold on. Michelle says reciprocity. I am only discovering the power of this and unpacking my codependency since COVID. And that's good. I'm super happy that you are at least doing the work of unpacking it, right? Because I spoke about that, right? Like the difference between codependency and interdependence. And because it's so similar, because we are taught in supremacy culture to be codependent, that our value is in contingent upon what we do, what we produce, what we bring to the table, it creates codependent relationships. So our first idea is a codependent relationship, right? So when we're breaking away from that, when we're decolonizing, dismantling, and unraveling all of this, you recognize that there's a difference. There's an interdependence, right? My kids, I'm just as dependent on my kids as they are on me. Like they are just as integral to my survival as I am to theirs, right? Even in small, that is not safe. Not safe. Better choices. Absolutely not. Because, like, in this moment, Karen get him like that. Like, Karen can go check on him, right? So we are interdependent in this community. They are feeding themselves or entertaining themselves. I need them because, one, I chose to have them. So that was my choice to bring them here. So, and I don't want to lord over them, right? So I need them the way they need me. It may be different. And that is how you learn interdependence, right? Like, they need me obviously financially because of capitalism, and those little fuckers can't get a job. So here we are. So they need me financially to provide, right? But I need them to come alongside and assist in the community with us, right? What does that look like? How do you show up? How do you show up here? How do you show up for the other people in your community? And we then become interdependent, right? Whether it's taking out the trash, whether it's a hug. The other day, Morgan was getting in trouble and like crying, and I had no spoons, zero, none, zilch, nine, yet. And I'm a proponent of telling them, go check on your sibling. So I told Erin, I'm like, go check on your sister because I don't got nothing left to give her. I have nothing. I don't even want to see her right now. Go check on your sister. That is an interdependence, right? And that leaves them not feeling like scared in a corner because one sibling is in trouble, we're all going to get in trouble. No, that person has nothing to do with that you, and community care is you checking on that person because they're obviously crying and upset that they're in trouble. So that shows an interdependence, right? Like that works even within your home. Work is the same way. You can apply those same principles. Nobody can exist alone. Me, my work, you guys are here on a Saturday. That is an interdependence. I could show up here by myself and I could talk, and I would, whether anybody shows up or not. So I could still honor what I said I'm going to do. But you guys coming in gives that more of a boost, right? Like, look at you. You're here. We're here together. And that's reciprocal energy that we're feeling, that we're sharing. So, excuse me. You guys are killing my soul internally. Do me a favor. Pick up that blanket basket and put it back. Okay, they're not going to listen, actually. So, I'm almost done. Put the blanket basket back. Healing requires courage and compassion. Shadow work is not about shame or punishment. Okay? It's about meeting our hidden selves with compassion and a willingness to grow. By embracing what disconnects us, we begin to create spaces of trust and healing. As an example, in restorative justice circles, people are asked to confront harm while holding both accountability and compassion. Right? Like when I shared the accountability thing, I broke the egg. That's it. You did that. Like,
I need some water.
You need some water? Come over here and get some water. You ate some hot chips? Trying to hang out with your cousin. You can't see that. So, listen. Parenting 24/7. You good?
Cousin put spicy on my mouth.
Well, don't eat Morgan's chips because Morgan likes hot sauce on her chips. So when we're doing that, he is so cute, right? I want to bite him. When you're being accountable, you just broke the egg. That's it, right? Okay. So now, again, you broke the egg. No excuses needed. That's broken. That's fine. How did that happen? Right? You could recognize the system that worked. Well, placing it in the refrigerator at the top shelf, and I got people in this house that are 3.5 feet tall, means that system is not really going to work. It's probably best if I put it down there at the very bottom, which makes it easier for them to grab. Is it possible that they'll still break an egg? Absolutely, right? But then I also, that shared interdependence, that shared reciprocity, I'm also holding myself accountable for having put it on the high shelf because I have a bunch of tiny humans. So now we're sharing accountability, right? We're sharing the harm. We're finding restoration, restorative things, and we're doing the repair work. And that happens communally. And it happens best in community. So, with that being said, we are at 10 o'clock and I am respecting time boundaries. That is our day 12. And the wrap up is shadow work is facing what disconnects us. So, what we covered is what is shadow work and why it's essential. Shadow work is community work, and healing requires courage and compassion. And just the fact that you guys are showing up shows your courage, right? The responses that I am receiving, right, that are centering, I love when I get the messages like, this helped me uncover something in myself. This is helping me heal myself. That's compassion. I want self-compassion so deep that it's bubbling over. You cannot pour from an empty cup. And we use those sayings, but never really think about what it means. I want you so deeply in love with yourself, so deeply compassionate with yourself, so deeply aware of who you are as a human being, and allowing yourself all the breath of humanity that, of course, it makes sense that you offer to any and everyone else that comes across your path. That is the goal. That is how you come into community. That is how you exist in intentional intersectional spaces. You have to be so deeply full of yourself. Excuse me. Please go in the room now. We got too loud. Too many warnings. Go into the room with Kira. Thank you. That is what I need. I need you so deeply full of yourself in the best way possible that offering humanity to someone else is a no-brainer. In the room, that's it. You don't need to take anything else. That when these systems come up, it's a no-brainer, right? It's a no-brainer. Like, no, I'm not doing this. I'm not adhering to that. Not at all. Let me see what Laura says. Yes, because I was on an online, I'm assuming meditation, and then I noticed I felt my cup was full and I was being nicer to the kids. Yeah, absolutely. Listen, didn't I tell you guys yesterday? I went and got my nails did. Y'all see? See? Yes. So I went and did my nails, I did my eyebrows, right? I went and I had lunch. Okay. And I took care of me. And you know what? I came back a much happier person because supremacy culture tells us that we are supposed to be martyrs, very specifically women and femmes, and more so wives and mothers, right? Like there's layers to the amount of oppression. And we have to see it for what it is. We have to name these systems for what it is. These are systems of oppression, period, because they are there to oppress you. Right. And then they tell you you don't deserve to go get your nails done and have lunch by yourself and get your eyebrows done unless you have earned X amount of money, worked X amount of hours. Absolutely not. I don't give a shit if I don't work no hours. I deserve to feel good. Okay. I deserve food. Like I am worthy. And not only food, good food. Okay. I'm worthy of yummy food, food that nourishes my body, my senses, right? My soul, all of it. Taylor says, your nail plan inspired me to carve out time for a long bath yesterday. Yes, I celebrate that. Celebrate it! Because yes. Because why the fuck should you not get a bath? What are we supposed to wait for? Our bones to be achy and crickety and carpal tunnel, etc. And like now I can't even get in the fucking bath or get out of it, right? How about just getting in a bath because I like a bath? Again, Kids will teach you something. My 5-year-old, we went to the $1.25 store because it is no longer Dollar Tree. We went to the $1.25 store to get some gum. They wanted some gum. That is the least expensive place to buy gum. Gum is an exorbitant amount of price for something that you know they're going to chew for 3 minutes, spit out, and pop in another one. So we go to the $1.25 store, and she starts looking around. She goes and gets a bath bomb yesterday. So lessons from Morgan's life. Bye. I'm not talking to you. That's not your throat. That's your stomach. Okay, bye. So your mouth is hot. Stop drinking. Stop eating Morgan's chips.
I'm not.
Well, apparently you are. And where's your cup? I'm gonna drink it behind you.
I don't know.
You need to find that. Find that, and Titi will fill up your cup of water.
On the sink?
I don't know, baby. So lessons from Morgan's life, right? So Morgan has school all day, which I very much tell them is a job, and they worked. And they also had to cheer at 7:00. So I said, listen, why don't you eat something, take a nap, and then I'll wake you up beforehand, right? She was like, yeah, that sounds good, right? Because she got home like around 3:34 from school. She went and ran her own bath. She was like, I think I want to take a bath. And I'm going to use my bath bomb. And I was like, okay, do you? She ran her bath. She put her bath bomb in there, her bubbles. She sat in there. She relaxed. She luxuriated. She was unbothered. She got up, dried herself, lotions up. She put her chair outfit on. She went into my bed. Oh, made herself some bagel bites. She's 5. Okay. I create a system where they could do their own thing. The brother helped open up the bagel bites, made some bagel bites, popped them in the air fryer. Also teaches them how to read, right? I'm like, put it on warm, press power. WARM. So put it in there, served herself, went into the bed with her bagel bites and napped, and then still showed up for her people. Do you know how much of a happier person she was because she took care of herself so deeply? She's 5. I learned from this kid. She's 5. But what she didn't do, right, is come home from school, do some freaking homework, which I find to be absurd. Do some homework, get changed, go to practice, maybe didn't eat, didn't take it. No, no. And school systems, these are why I'm saying it's systems of oppression, train us for being an adult. Because now take that 5-year-old body and put it in this 45-year-old body. And here's the expectation, because I'm the parent that has to take that kid to cheer, right? So the expectation was that I got all my kids to school, came home, did some homework with them, fed them and myself, and still showed up for cheer. And I'm supposed to have a smile on my face? Boy, fuck you. No, I do not have a smile on my face. Like I'm not happy because now we're working on 16 hours a day and I've had like a Coke and a smile. You know what I'm saying? So yes, I'm super glad that you carved out a long bath for yourself yesterday. And I would like for each one of you to choose something to do for yourself today or incorporate small acts of rest that are intentional. Not like, oh shit, is that no, carve it out. Intentionally put yourself first. You will see how you show up in your activism spaces, in your home, in your job, and you will see how quickly this is the best lesson for boundaries. As soon as you put yourself first, you want to figure out boundaries. Okay, how do I do this in all the other aspects of my life? Right? It's applicable. It is actionable. When you prioritize you, you will not do anything else. I can't. I cannot show up for you guys if I did not show up for me. You know what I did this morning? I sat down, I got my liberation lessons ready. I pre-posted them for the month of February. I usually do that at the beginning of the month. So all the Saturday liberation lessons were done. But you know what? Before I got on here, I've been telling myself because I was smoking and my skin got really bad. I washed my face, I brushed my teeth, and I got my water. Because imagine me showing up and not having done that small act of service for myself. We talk about these acts of service and how to treat people externally, right? How do you love your partner? I'm my partner. Me. I am partnering. Here's what I know. People will come and go. Okay. I've been married twice. I'm running through these husbands. Okay. I have 4 children. All of these people will come and go. But I am my partner for life. So look at yourself as your partner. dig into those shadows, see what it is.
Don't you step on my hand while we was playing hide and seek?
It sounds like he made a really serious mistake and hurt you. Can you please go talk to him about
Mama.
it? I'm not doing this. Give me 2 minutes. He wants to know what he did. Go over there and tell him. Over there. Love the conflict resolution. Over there. Go with your cousin.
Under the blankets and we couldn't find
Love that. Love that. Go talk about it. Mediate it. You are your partner. I was all in this like really serious Hallmark moment, and here they came. But no, guys, seriously, we're after the 10 o'clock mark. But you are your first partner. You are your first home. You must commune with yourself. Take care of yourself first. You begin a deep, loving partnership with you. Okay? Dig into those shadows, those stories about yourself. All of these things are intertwined. Please believe that there is a method to my madness, as mad as it is. All right. Love you guys. I will see you tomorrow. Oh, wait, full name. Some of those ships are in your water now. I know. I'm skeeving the thought of that. And thank you for bringing that to my attention. I wanted to sip this water about 3 times. And I'm like, I know there's some chips at the bottom. And I would just die a sensory death if I sipped and it just went down my throat. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not going to drink that water. I'm going to pour that into his cup. Okay. You guys have a wonderful, wonderful Saturday. You know, the article will come with some actionable steps. Don't rush. Don't do anything. Like, let's just take our time. Do let me know if you'd be interested in a school community. Because I know I have the makeshift happen, but if you guys are doing this intentional work together, it kind of like brings it a little bit more home. And we could keep it in the makeshift happen Facebook community, but I'm thinking about options outside of Meta. So, anywho, see you tomorrow, 9:30.